How say you, people of the jury? Do you find the prisoner, William Habron, guilty or not guilty of the crime of willful murder?
Guilty.
And that is the verdict of you all?
It is.
William Habron, you stand convicted of the crime of willful murder. Have you anything to say for yourself? Why sentence of death should not be passed upon you according to the law?
Sure I have, and all. It's a mistake you're making. I'm innocent. I didn't do it, I tell you. I didn't do it.
Silence in court.
William Habron, the jury has found you guilty of a particularly foul and brutal murder, in that you shot at and killed a police officer, Constable Cook, who was endeavoring to carry out his duty in apprehending you.
Not me, Your Honor. It was a mistake. I was in bed and asleep.
Silence.
The jury have expressed themselves satisfied beyond all reasonable doubt that you are the man who was seen to enter the grounds of a house at Whalley-Ridge, Manchester on the night of August 1st. When confronted by the law, you drew a pistol and fired 3 shots, one of which proved fatal, thereby making good your escape.
No, it wasn't me. I'm telling you.
The sentence of the law is therefore that you will be taken from this place to the place from whence you came, and from there to a lawful place of execution, where you shall be hanged by the neck until you are dead. And may the Lord have mercy upon your soul.
Oh, and what dost thou find so amusing, Charlie Peace? I said, if there's a joke, then I'm entitled to share it.
Oh, nothing, Hannah. Just me thoughts.
Where have you been since Monday? Charlie Peace? Not here in Sheffield. I'll vouch for that.
No, Hannah, in Manchester.
What doing in Manchester?
I was there to witness a man sentenced to death for murder.
Murder? Oh, you mean William Habron.
Yes, William Habron.
And what's a drunken Irishman to you, may I ask?
Nothing, Hannah, nothing. Just the same, I couldn't keep feeling a bit sorry for the fellow. It was purely circumstantial evidence.
Oh, and I'd have thought you'd have seen enough of the police court without wanting to show your face there as an idle spectator.
Come now, Hannah, you mustn't talk like that.
But of course you were only idle during the day, waiting for darkness to follow. You must think me a poor, blind fool, Charlie Peace, if I can't see that you're up to your old tricks again.
Why, you know I've kept out of trouble for a long time now.
Why? You've kept out of trouble. But how long can that last? You think I don't read the papers? With all these burglaries in Hull, Leeds, Manchester, as well as here in Sheffield?
Well, what of it?
Police say they're all the work of the same man. A man with a slight limp, and a man as agile as a cat, a man who can scale the front porch of any house to enter by the window. And all the time, Charles Peace is going straight, earning an honest living making picture frames, amusing himself on the fiddle. As for this house, it's stacked from roof to cellar with musical instruments. You never could keep those nimble fingers off a musical instrument, Charlie Peace.
I'll trouble you to mind your own business.
Well, it's my business when you get caught.
They'll never catch me again, never, I tell you. I've had enough. Only fools lets themselves get caught.
Only the biggest fools, Charlie Peace.
Understand this. No policeman is ever going to rob me of liberty again. I've got me own methods of seeing to that.
Oh, you're mad, Charlie Peace.
Mad, am I? Well, you don't do so badly out of me madness. You have all the money you want, all I can afford.
Well, I'd have more if you didn't squander it on other women. Besides, what do they see in you, Charlie Peace? A short, ugly man with a limp and 2 fingers missing. Yet the Lord knows you've a strange power over us women. Aye, a power gifted by the devil himself.
I'll stand no more of your blasphemous insults.
Even that Katie Dyson. Things have reached a pretty pass when a man can't leave his next-door neighbor's wife alone. And her with a young baby, too.
Blast you, what I do is my own affair.
Oh, I, as well as the whole of Darnell, it seems. Well, they may act that way in America, but she's married to an Englishman. As for Mr. Dyson, I tell you, you've gone a little bit too far this time, Charlie Peace. Look what I found thrown over the garden fence today.
Hey, give me that.
I'll read it to you. Just a plain visiting card with these words on the back. Charles Peace is requested not to interfere with my family. Signed, Arthur Dyson.
Does that fool think to scare me with that? I can look after myself. You'd best put a curb on that gossiping tongue of yours, do you hear?
Will you take your hands off me?
I rescued you from poverty, didn't I, Hannah Ward? And you and that brat of yours.
Well, at least I was honest and a widow.
I married you, didn't I? I gave you a home. And now all I get is your sermons and your insults. I'll stand no more of it, do you hear?
No!
No more, I say. I'm going. I'd best be going. Aye, you're better off without me, Hannah.
No! Don't go, Charlie Peace. I don't mind what you do or say. Nay, I can even abide and hold with your infidelities, so long as I may still be with you. And if I grumble sometimes, it's not because of myself. It's you I'm thinking of, Charlie Peace. Is that you, Charlie?
So, you answer to the whistle of others besides me then, Katie Dyson? Come here.
No, I mustn't. I ought not to be here at all.
Eh, what's that? Ought not to be here. Oh, I think I know. It's that husband of yours trying to frighten you, eh?
Maybe it's wrong. It's utterly wicked of us both. I came out here tonight like a dog in answer to your whistle, but I've come for the last time, Charlie. From now on, we're through.
You mean you don't ever want to hear me play the fiddle no more, nor watch me make beautiful things just for you, Katie? Look what I brought you from Manchester, Katie. A present, a little musical box.
Gee, it's nice. It's pretty. But I can't accept it.
Come closer, Katie.
No.
Come closer, I said. Rest your head on old Charlie's shoulder. I, not so old as I look either. Just over 40, whilst you... Oh, you're trembling, Katie. What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of you. Will you please let me go?
Have you forgotten the day I took you to Sheffield Fair? You weren't afraid that day, Katie.
I hate you, Charlie Peace. When I'm away from you, I hate you. And yet, in your presence, why can't you just leave me alone?
Because you're beautiful, Katie. And Charlie Peace likes beautiful things, like beauty in music. Yes, the greatest beauty of all is in music. There ain't a woman living as beautiful as music.
You're crazy. At least I must have been crazy these last months. But I'm wise to things now. Let me go, will you? Don't you try to see me again. Goodbye, Charlie Peace. My mind's made up.
That husband of yours has made it up for you.
Arthur Dyson's an honest, hard-working man and a good husband. Take a warning from me, Charlie Peace.
You think I'm afraid of him? I'm afraid of no man living. None, I tell you.
Then at least if you have a spark of feeling left for me, you'll start no trouble.
You think so, eh? Well, you're mistaken. You've not seen the last of me. I'm not the one to be treated this way.
Confound it, man. Oh, it's you, Charles Peace. I've an idea you tripped me deliberately.
You've some strange ideas, Arthur Dyson, and one of them's throwing insulting notes over garden fence.
I meant what I said, Charles Peace. And since you mentioned the fence, you'll oblige me by keeping to your side of it in the future. I'll stand no more of your interference.
You've no right to talk to me like that.
I've every right. You've abused my hospitality, neighbor. Use it to molest my wife, turning her head with your music and fancy paper trimmings. You've succeeded up to a point, enough to set the tongues of gossips wagging here in Darnell. But I'll see to it you give 'em the cause to wag no more.
You dare to threaten me?
Aye, if a warning counts as a threat. There's a trespass law in this land. I'm warning you, Charles Peace, not to set foot in my house or grounds again. As for Kate, she's come to see reason and wants no more of you than I do.
You think you can treat me this way, the pair of you? You think because you're strong and I'm a cripple, you can frighten me? You're mistaken.
I'm giving you a final warning, Charles Peace. Keep away from me and my family.
A fig for your warnings. There. Do you see this pistol? It's loaded.
Madman, put the thing away.
I'll not hesitate to use it. You're going to be sorry you ever tried to meddle with Charlie Peace.
I'll have the law on you for this. I'll stand here talking no more as a madman who threatens my life. I'll have the law on you, I say.
Go ahead if you want the whole of Sheffield to know what sort of woman your wife is. I've got proof. Photographs, letters. Aye, I've kept a lot of them. You'll see. Silver again. Enough on one mantel shelf to keep a poor man in comfort for 12 months. Oh, clumsy. What's that? A guitar. A Spanish guitar with ribbons attached. Oh, haven't I dreamed of owning one of these?
Who's there? Who are you?
Stand back.
Help! Call the police! A burglar!
Stand back, I say, stand back.
Come on, the game's up.
Oh, whatever is happening, Graves?
Keep away, milady. He's armed.
A burglar? Oh, where are the police? What are they doing?
Open the window, milady.
Graves, are you hurt?
No, milady, I just slipped in the darkness.
Get away from that window, ma'am, or I'll shoot.
Do as he says, milady. The fellow's dangerous.
The gas, Graves. Turn up the gas.
I've got it, milady. There, I've got it.
Stand back, the pair of you, or you'll be sorry for it.
Why, he's only a little man, Graves.
He has the strength of four, milady.
And what a strange, almost pathetic look in his eyes.
It's the Portico thief, all right, milady. Wanted by the police of every town in the north. You'd best come quietly, fellow. You haven't a chance.
I tell you, you're mistaken. I'm not really a thief. This is the first time ever I've done it. I'm just a poor man with a wife and 4 children to keep from starvation. You wouldn't turn a poor man like me in, would you? Think what had happened to me children.
Don't you believe him, milady? He's...
All right, Graves. I think I can handle this. Leave us alone.
But, your ladyship, the fellow's a dangerous criminal.
And you heard what I said, Graves.
Your ladyship.
Just wait in the next room. I'll call you if I need any help.
Very well, milady, but I implore you, take good care.
Won't you please put away that dangerous weapon? And I see that it's strapped to your wrist. You don't look like the kind of person who'd use it other than to frighten people. I do hope I'm right.
Well,
What's your name?
Ward, ma'am. John Ward.
Quite a common name in Sheffield. But there, the question was a foolish one. Don't you know that it's wicked to break into people's houses and steal the silver?
I've told you, I'm a poor man with a wife and
4 starving children.
Yeah.
But there is such thing as work, you know. Honest work. Have you ever tried it?
You asked me that. Here, take a look at this leg. That's all I've got to show after 2 years' honest work in a mill.
You met with an accident?
Aye, followed by more than a 12-month in hospital.
A terrible misfortune. And your hand, I see.
That was another accident. Cleaning a revolver when it went off blew away these 2 fingers. But I can still play music. I can play any musical instrument you care to mention, ma'am.
You can?
Aye. Now that guitar, for instance, that real Spanish guitar, would you like to hear me play a tune on it?
Why, it hasn't been used for years. We only keep it as an ornament.
Oh, you'd be doing me a great favor, ma'am.
Then by all means.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Oh, it's a real work of art. Yes, ma'am, a beautiful instrument. Needs a bit of tuning, of course, but what would you like me to play for you, ma'am?
Oh, I leave that entirely to you.
What about On Ilk L'amour?
One of my favorites.
Then, where have you been since I last saw you? On Ilk L'amour without a hat. Where hast thou been since I saw thee? Where hast thou been since I saw thee? On Ilk L'amour batat, on Ilk L'amour batat, on Ilk L'amour batat.
Bravo! That was beautiful.
Your ladyship, are you all right?
As you can see, Graves, I'm perfectly all right. There's no need for you to wait up any longer.
But, your ladyship,
Do as I say, Graves. Go back to bed. I have the situation in hand.
as you please, milady, but...
Good night, Graves.
Good night, milady. Oh, but if only his lordship were here.
If you don't mind, if I have this sheet of paper off desk here.
Oh, but of course.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, just watch while I fold it. So. And again, like that. Just nick off a few pieces.
Whatever is it going to be? How quickly your fingers work.
If I had the time, I could make you something really beautiful. Like a model of York Minster, correct in every detail. Just out of paper.
But how wonderful.
As it is, there. Just a little something to remember that is John Ward, ma'am.
A little house, a cottage. Why, it's beautiful, perfect. However did you do it in such time?
I've amused myself like that ever since I was child. With your permission, ma'am, I'll be getting along now. Oh, I did put 1 or 2 bits of silver in me bag. I'll pull it back and put it where it came from.
Utterly strange. Yet ugly. One can only scarcely take one's eyes from his face. Evil, too. And yet there must be some goodness. Otherwise, how could so much beauty be lurking in the soul?
There, ma'am, everything back in place. Oh, that's worth more than all the silver put together.
Suppose I gave you these 3 sovereigns. Would you promise to never burgle our home again?
You're kind, ma'am, but would you think me ungrateful if I asked for the Spanish guitar instead?
But what about your wife and 4 starving children?
Yeah, there is that, of course. But maybe if I had guitar, I could earn a bit of money with it, playing in the streets. You get the idea.
To think an old musical instrument could mean so much to a common burglar. But you haven't answered my question. Suppose I gave you these 3 sovereigns and the guitar. Will you promise to stop being a burglar?
Well, you're very kind indeed, ma'am, and I will try.
If you try hard enough, I'm sure you'll succeed. As for this pretty little paper cottage, I shall keep it on the mantel amongst the silver. I shall keep it always in memory of...
John Ward, ma'am.
Or shall we say, the Portigo thief.
No, ma'am, you're mistaken.
Oh, now, here are the sovereigns.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
And you're welcome to the guitar.
Most good of you, to be sure.
And yet I wonder if I've done the right thing.
Yeah. A real Spanish guitar.
Mr. Peace, Mr. Charles Peace.
Well, what do the police want with me?
Nice quiet little place you've got here. Not at all what I'd thought in the circumstances.
What do you want with me?
I've come to serve you with a summons.
A summons? What the devil do you mean? I've done nothing wrong.
In that case, you've got nothing to worry about. Just the same, I'm here to deliver this. Whereas information has this day been laid by Arthur Dyson, number 12 Britannia Road, Darnell, against Charles Peace, number 10 Britannia Road, Darnell, both in the county of York, that the said Charles Peace did utter threats and behave in such a manner as to endanger the life, to wit, which he did produce a loaded firearm and threatened to shoot the said Arthur Dyson. Take notice. Therefore, said Charles Peace is hereby summoned to appear in person before the magistrates at Sheffield on the 15th day of December in the year of our Lord, 1876.
They dare to do this to me. He's a liar. There isn't a word of truth in it.
You'll be given every chance to prove as much, Mr. Peace. Meanwhile, you must answer in court personally on the date stated.
And if I don't?
Then there'll be a warrant issued for your arrest.
Arrest?
Good day, Mr. Peace.
They'll be sorry for this, the pair of them. Aye, let them wait and see.
What's up, Charlie Peace? What is it?
You mind your own business, Hannah.
A summons by the look of it. As if that isn't my business. Whereas information has this day been laid by the Dysons, eh? I knew it. I knew it would come to this.
And I say they're going to withdraw that summons. Before I finish, they're going to be sorry they ever crossed my path. You wait and see.
Madman. Haven't you done enough already without making matters worse? Keep away from them, Charlie Peace, or you'll find yourself in a police cell.
A police cell? No. Never again, I tell you.
Oh, you've gotten yourself into a fine pickle, and all because you never could resist a pretty face.
Blast you, I can handle my own affairs.
Oh, it looks like it, you numbskull. Can't you see what's going to happen? When this case comes up in the court, the police are going to make inquiries, and the truth will be out. That Charles Peace has already spent 10 of his 40 years in prison for housebreaking and larceny. Aha! The police will know they found the portico thief at last.
To blazes with the summons, we'll pack up and go. That's what we'll do.
Leave Darnell?
Aye, right out of Sheffield, too. We'll go to Hull.
To Hull?
I know of a little business going in Hull. A coffee shop with living quarters above. The rent's cheap enough, too. They won't think of looking for us there. And in a few weeks' time, the summons will be forgotten or withdrawn.
And supposing it isn't?
Wait and see, Hannah, wait and see.
Prisoner William Habron, stand up for the governor.
The governor? And would you be hanging me before my time, sir? Since when did they hang a man in the darkness of night?
All right, Habron, I have some good news for you.
Good news for a man about to face his maker.
In reviewing all the circumstances, as well as the nature of the evidence taken at your trial, the Home Secretary has seen fit to advise Her Majesty to exercise the royal prerogative of mercy in your favor, and this Her Majesty has graciously consented to do.
Do you mind telling me just what this is all about?
Your sentence, Habron, has been commuted to one of penal servitude for life.
You mean I'm not going to die?
Not on the gallows anyway, Habron.
Did you hear that? I'm not going to die. I'm going to live.
And down will come baby, cradle and all. There, go to sleep now. Is that you, Arthur?
Aye, 'tis me, Kate. Is baby asleep?
Arthur, I have news for you. Charles Peace and Hannah have left the district.
Good riddance, I say. But if Charles Peace isn't in court to answer summons, there'll be a warrant out for him. And if all you confess to me is true, then you ought to be right pleased. Instead, you're looking worried. How come?
I'm scared, Arthur. I'm scared of him. Charles Peace will be back again. I know it.
I suppose he is fool enough to show himself here in Darnell. You still no cause to be afraid, Kate.
I guess you don't know Charles Peace like I do. I never told you, but I passed him in the street the other day. I just can't describe the fearful expression on his face. His eyes seemed to look right through me. For a moment, I thought he was going to stop and say something, but he just walked straight on without a word. I tell you, I'm scared, Arthur. We should never have done this thing.
Since when can a man threaten his neighbor with firearms and avoid the consequences?
Better still, we should have been the ones to leave Darnell, sure, to get away from it all.
Leave Darnell, eh?
Oh, I guess I'm to blame, but there's no reason to laugh at me, Arthur.
Who said I was laughing at you, Kate? Fact is, I've a little surprise. As it happens, we are leaving Darnell.
Wait, say that again?
Aye, I thought it best. When all's said and done, there can be no happiness for us here in Darnell. I've given landlord notice, Kate, and next week we move to Banner Cross.
Banner Cross?
6 miles or more away from here. It'll be a fresh start for both of us. I've taken a semi-detached house in Ecclesall Road. You'll like it.
I know I shall like it.
But what, Kate?
No, nothing, Arthur. Nothing.
Stop your scraping and take a look at this, Charlie Peace. There's a warrant out for you.
What's that?
You thought once you left the district, Dyson'd withdraw that summons, but he didn't. This newspaper's 3 days old, and here's what it says. The police are anxious to trace the whereabouts of Charles Peace, a picture frame maker, formerly of 10 Britannia Road, Darnell, who failed to appear in answer to a summons alleging armed threats against a neighbor. A warrant has been issued for his arrest. There's a full description of you here, Charlie Peace.
A curse on them. They'll be sorry for this.
Oh, you said that once before.
Aye, and I mean it this time. They'll be glad to withdraw it before I've finished.
What are you going to do?
I'm going back to Sheffield, to Darnell.
Oh, you're crazy. The police will get you long before.
No copper will ever get me. Mark my words, never.
Don't go, Charlie Peace. Don't go, I beg of you.
Out of my way.
No, come back, Charlie Peace. Come back, I say.
Rock-a-bye, baby, on the... No. No. Arthur, are you there?
Coming, Kate. What's the trouble?
Arthur,
Well, what is it, Kate? What's up?
Nothing. Would you mind rocking the baby a bit while I take in the washing? I think it's going to rain.
Well, I'll not offer to bring in clothes offline. You know I always drop something in the mud.
No, I'll only be a few minutes.
Aye, and mind those steps in the yard. It's dark out there, and you're not used to this place as yet.
Where are you?
Here, Katie, on top of this wall. But now I'm right here beside you. It didn't take Charles Peace long to find your new address, did it?
Get away from me. I hate you. I hate you. But I want to avoid further trouble, and that's why I'm out here. Don't you know there's a warrant out for your arrest?
Aye, and that's why I'm here, Katie, to beg you to get it withdrawn.
It's too late.
No, you can say it was all a mistake. You wouldn't want to see poor Charlie Peace sent to prison, would you, Katie?
Why can't you leave me alone?
I'll never leave you alone, Katie. Not until you get that summons withdrawn.
Then I guess you're best locked up in prison.
You dare to talk to me like that? You thought by leaving Darnell and moving to Banner Cross you could rid yourself of me? Aye, you've yet to learn that liberty means more to Charlie Peace than all else. As for the neighbors here, I'll tell 'em what sort of woman you really are. Aye, they'll see that picture of you and me arm in arm at Sheffield Fair. All the guilty little notes you ever wrote me.
You're a fiend. I guess you ain't even human. Get away! Take your hands off me!
Withdraw that summons, I say, or you're going to be sorry, the pair of you.
Let me go! I'll call my husband! Arthur! Arthur, help! Arthur!
What is it, Kate?
Charles Peace,
Peace!
over there, climbing the wall.
Why?
Stand back.
Get the police, Kate!
No, let me go or I'll shoot. Stand back, I say. There. There, I told you I'd shoot. Next time I'll take aim.
Get the police!
Fool, let me go, do you hear? Let me go.
Oh! Arthur! Arthur! He's dead! Murdered!
Whereas the murderer did escape by climbing garden wall and in such a manner left no trace of his present whereabouts. Notice is hereby given, a reward of £100 will be paid by Her Majesty's government to any person or persons who shall give information and evidence as will lead to the discovery and conviction of the said Charles Peace. That ought to bring somewhat to light of his whereabouts.
And a handsome bit of money for someone too.
But not for the likes of us.
Nay, who can tell? He may be hiding here in Hull this very minute.
2 coffees and 2 meat pies, 6 each, please.
Yeah, thank you, Duck.
Thanks, ma'am. They'll do well to watch for Charles Peace, Banner Cross murderer. Seen reward out in papers this morning.
I have seen it. What makes you think he'd come to Hull?
What makes you think he wouldn't? As good as anywhere else, I reckon.
Excuse me, please.
Mrs. Ward.
Well, that's my name.
I'm a police officer, and I've reason to believe otherwise. I'd like a word with you privately.
I'm busy now.
In that case, I'll wait.
Oh, all right, this way.
Thank you. Just in case anyone should try to leave these premises in a hurry, it may save trouble if I tell you we've 2 men posted in front and 2 at back.
I don't understand. This is a waste of time.
I've reason to believe that your name isn't Ward, that you're the wife of Charlie Peace, wanted for murder in Sheffield.
Oh, and what makes you think that?
We've our own methods of inquiry, Mrs. Peace.
Suppose I deny it.
It'll make no difference.
Then supposing I don't deny it. Supposing I tell you I haven't the least idea where my husband is. If you must know, I haven't set eyes on him since he left here to go to Sheffield 3 weeks ago. Now.
I've a warrant to search this place, Mrs. Peace.
Then go ahead and search.
If you don't mind, I'll begin with the attic and work downwards.
Oh, come on then, I tell you. I've no time to waste. Well, are you satisfied?
Yes, unless there's a secret passage tucked away.
Secret passage in walls of this thickness?
That's true enough.
You should have believed me in the first place. I want no more of him, I tell you. Perhaps you don't know, but there's a reward out. Aye, £100 reward. You think I couldn't do with that money? And be rid of him into the bargain?
We can count on that, Mrs. Peace.
Oh, you can stake your life on it. And now, I've customers waiting to be served.
Good day, Mrs. Peace. Good day for the present.
Are you there, Charlie Peace?
Is it safe?
You may come down off the roof now. They've gone.
Is it safe, Hannah? Hannah?
They've gone, walking away this minute. But take care, that gutter piping is loose.
All right, Hannah, I'm coming. I'm coming. Whew. That was a near one, Hannah. You only pulled the bell rope just in time.
To think that I should have to do this for a murderer.
Don't talk that way, Hannah. I'm not a murderer, not really. How many times must I tell you I didn't want to shoot him? I warned him several times, but he wouldn't let me go.
And how long do you suppose you can keep this up? There's a reward out for you, Charles Peace. £100 reward. It's in every newspaper.
£100, eh? Well, don't worry. Nobody'll ever get it.
Oh, don't you be so sure. From now on, it'll be touch and go.
I said not to worry, Hannah. I've been thinking it over, and I've made me plans.
What plans?
I'll be leaving here tonight, Hannah.
You're crazy. As like as not, the police will be watching the place again by then.
They'll be watching the place, but I can reach other side of the street by way of the rooftops. There's no moon tonight, and the rest is just a cakewalk.
And when daylight comes, there's a full description of you in every newspaper, as well as every policeman's notebook.
You think I care about that? Surely you know me well enough by now, Hannah. How good I am at acting as well as disguise. As for this hand, I haven't been idle all this time, Hannah. Look what I made. I'll put it on just to show you. There.
A hook.
Aye, a hook with a dummy forearm. I tell you, in a week from now, I'll walk up to any policeman in the north and ask him the time of day.
Oh, you've nerve enough, as none can deny.
I can look for to myself for a month or so, a whole year if need be.
With the help of other women.
I'll send you money from time to time, and when the hue and cry for Charlie Peace has begun to die down, you can sell up here and join me.
Where? Where will that be, may I ask?
Oh, maybe in Leeds, maybe York, Huddersfield, or, maybe even in London. Excuse me, sir, but this train, does it go to London, to King's Cross Station?
Aye, this is the London train.
If you don't mind if I open the window a few inches? Me wife here is subject to fainting fits, eh, Susan?
That's right, Charlie. I never could stand a stuffy carriage.
By all means.
Thank you, sir. There. That better, Susan?
Aye, a body can breathe now.
With a bit of luck, you'll have the compartment to yourselves after Sheffield. That's where I get off.
Oh, you live at Sheffield, sir?
No, but I work there. My home's at Sunderland.
And if my powers of observation don't deceive me, sir, you'd be a policeman, eh?
I won't deny it.
Pray, don't think me inquisitive. I've met any number of policemen in my time. A very fine body of men, if I may say so, sir. Aye, a very noble profession.
Like everything else, it has its ups and downs.
Yeah, of course, I suppose. As a matter of interest, while we're on the subject, what do you deduce from my appearance, sir?
Well, I'd say you were a businessman.
A merchant would be more correct.
Aye, and judging by the color of your skin, I'd say you spent a good many years abroad. Aye, in some hot climate or other.
You see, Susan, how the police are trained to observe? You're quite right, sir. I was born and bred in Hull, but most of my life has been spent in the West Indies, Jamaica. It was there that I met with this little misfortune. A snake bite it was, sir, and they took the arm off below the elbow.
And you manage now with that hook. A bit too clumsy for me, I'd say.
Oh, you'd be surprised what I can do after all these years with one hand and a hook. Hey, Susan.
Oh, 'tis true enough.
But you mentioned Sheffield, sir. I was there, just about a year ago now, when there was a murder down at Banner Cross.
Oh, aye, the Banner Cross murder.
You were there at the time?
No, I was in Huddersfield then, although most of us in the north were out on that job in one way or another. Comes to that, we still are.
You mean you haven't caught that fellow yet?
You've heard if we had.
Pawn me soul. I've even forgotten his name. Charles somebody or other.
Charles Peace.
Oh.
And £100 reward on his head.
Yeah, of course. Charles Peace.
Although I say it myself, 'tis my opinion he never will be caught. Many's the criminal I've taken in my time, but there's something about that man.
You mean he's too clever for you, eh?
I'll not deny he's clever. But that's not all. Just thought the luck of the devil goes with him. Many's the time we've caught up with him. We've had him as good as trapped in a house, and still he's managed to give us the slip.
Most remarkable, to be sure.
Furthermore, 'tis known now that all along Charles Peace were portico thief, wanted for a score or more of robberies here in the north.
But you still can't catch him, eh? Oh, well, wait.
Why, what's the matter, Charlie?
This must be Darnell.
Aye, we're getting into Sheffield now.
I've many happy memories of Darnell. Forgive me, sir. You were saying about Charles Peace and the Banner Cross murder?
Nay, that's all there is to it.
Tell me, sir. I remember at the time my sympathies went out to the victim's widow, Mrs. Dyson. Is she still living at Banner Cross?
Nay, before marriage, she was from the United States of America, Cleveland, Ohio. That's where she belonged, and that's where she's gone.
I see.
But of course, if Charles Peace is ever caught, then she'll be sent for again as a witness, the principal witness in her husband's murder.
Indeed, yes, to be sure.
Well, I get out here. Pleased to have met you both, Mr.
Thompson, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson.
And a comfortable journey to you both. Good day.
Good day.
Good day, sir, and good luck.
Charlie, however did you do it? Your face, it looked quite different.
A gift, Susan, from the Almighty. But the walnut juice, it worked. That's what I'm pleased about. He never gave it a second look. The hot climate of Jamaica, eh?
Nay, I was frightened. At any time, he might have recognized you. Oh, we shouldn't have risked coming through Sheffield.
Don't worry, Susan. There's no need to worry anymore. It took a pretty young widow like Susan Thompson to recognize Charlie Peace. But I can fool any policeman living. That's all that matters, eh?
Buy me a drink, Charlie. Just a little drop. I need it after that.
Later, Susan, later. And when we get to London, why, you shall have all the gin you want.
I'm just wondering about that wife of yours.
No need to worry about Hannah. There'll be room for the three of us.
You think so, eh? There's never room for two women in any man's life.
Ah, but you don't know Hannah. Wait and see, Susan. Wait till we get to London. If they couldn't catch Charlie Peace in the north, they'll never catch him in London. Never.
Let go!
Take that, you drunken, shameless strumpet! I'll show you who's the real mistress here.
Oh, you think you are, but you're not. You're just an ugly, jealous old woman who can't...
Stop it! Do you hear me? Stop it, I say, the pair of you.
Will you speak to her? She started it.
The liar, I never did.
Quiet, I said. Do you want all the neighbors on our doorstep?
Why, they'd be surprised to learn that I'm your lawful wedded wife living here in the basement while you and that...
Oh, don't you dare to call me any more names, or I'll show...
Now listen to me, both of you. The way we live here is for my safety. After 2 years, the police are still looking for me in Sheffield. They know you too, Hannah, and that's why we're here, split up and disguised. Neither of you has anything to complain about. You both live in comfort and with money to spend.
Aye, and where does it come from? It's the portico thief, all over again, only here in London, instead of the north. But where will it end?
You hold your tongue, Hannah. If you're not satisfied, you can get out of here. Aye, and that applies to both of you. I'll have no more of your wrangling. That clear?
Yes, Charlie.
Get your bonnets, and I'll take you both for a little drive to Blackheath. And, oh, almost forgetting. We've company coming tonight. Aye, Mr. and Mrs. Breon from across terrace. A clever man, Mr. Breon, an inventor.
That from the soul doth rise, doth crave a drink divine. But might I of Jove's nectar sup, I would not change for thine.
Splendid, splendid. 10 years ago, I'd have entertained you on the fiddle. But you can't play the violin with hook in place of hand.
Of course not. Too bad, Mr. Thompson. As for Mrs. Ward, why, I reckon she can make a piano talk. Eh, Ethel, my dear?
Oh, it's a fact she can. What's more, I'd give that much to have a voice like you, Mrs. Thompson.
Oh, nay, you might have said so in me younger days.
And now it's past 11 o'clock and high time we're off. Can't remember when we enjoyed an evening so much, eh, Ethel?
That's the truth.
Aye, you must come again and soon.
Goodbye, Mrs. Thompson, and thanks ever so much.
It's been a pleasure, I'm sure, Mrs. Breon.
Your singing's been a real treat, Mrs. Thompson, and as for this house, why, I've seldom seen the like of it for silver and ornaments. Oh, some people are that lucky. What's more, you're lucky to have a tenant like Mrs. Ward. Mark my words, if every landlady could boast of such respectability, why, Peckham would be a different place.
Sergeant Brown, come here quick.
Well, what is it, Robinson?
Look, over there in St. John's. Isn't that a light moving around in one of the ground floor rooms?
You're right. It is and all. That'd be the dining room, too.
Think we ought to knock up Mr. Burness and see if all's well?
No, you keep watch here by this gate, Robinson, while I go and fetch Constable Girling. There may be more than one of them in there, and we don't want to take any chances.
Look, Sergeant! It's gone out. The light's gone out.
Then wait here. If anyone leaves, they're bound to pass through this gate. You wait here and nab them. Don't worry, we'll be right behind you.
There's somebody coming now. Sergeant, there's somebody. All right, you drop that sack and stand. Get on the ground, fool.
Stand back, or I'll shoot. Stand back, you fool.
Quick, Sergeant Brown, Girling!
Hold him, Constable. Hold him, we're coming.
Let me go. Let me go.
That's got you. All right, Girling, I can hold him. Fetch an ambulance quick. Are you badly hurt, Robinson?
Got me in my arm, Sergeant, and I think me head, too.
I didn't mean to shoot. I warned him, but he wouldn't stop, and I...
Shut up and save your breath. You're gonna need it later. Your name?
John Ward.
John Ward. Where do you live?
Find out.
Well, I dare say we shall at that. Your age?
60.
60.
Aye, and if you don't believe me, you can prove otherwise. I'm a poor old man, I am, and...
All right, Girling, let's have the contents of his pocket on this table.
Right, Sergeant. 1 jemmy, 1 screwdriver, a pocket lamp with candle.
All the tools of the trade, eh?
Looks like it, Sergeant. A penknife. Quite a valuable one, too, I'd say. A bunch of keys.
For Mo. Let's take a look at that penknife. Thank you. Why, it's engraved. Moss Isaacs, Herne Hill Dulwich. Isaacs, Herne Hill. That seems familiar somehow. Just a minute. Isn't there a list here? Yes. This is the one. Yes, I thought so. 12 silver tablespoons, 12 silver forks. Yeah. Here we are. One penknife with silver and ivory handle, fully engraved. This is it. This knife is part of the loot burgled from Dulwich in December last year.
You're mistaken. It's me own property. I bought it.
Where from?
I don't remember.
John Ward, eh? You know what, Constable Girling? I think we've got a prize here. Whoever did that Dulwich job was thought at the time to have been responsible for 20 or 30 other cases of housebreaking, all exactly similar, and all carried out with a certain radius. Well, looks like we've got the culprit at last.
You're mistaken, I tell you. I'm a respectable citizen, down on his luck. Tonight's the very first time
We'll see about that. As for your bullets, one of them smashed a constable's elbow and another grazed the side of his head.
It was an accident, I tell you, and I demand bail.
Bail? On a charge of attempted murder? Ha!
Nothing more in his pocket, Sergeant.
Right then. Take him below.
No, let me go. I demand to see a lawyer.
Come on.
You'll be sorry for this. You're making a mistake, a big mistake, I tell you.
Hey, Ethel, come here a minute and listen to this.
Who's the letter from? Something to do with your inventions?
No, nothing like that. Look, written from Newgate Prison, and this is what it says. Dear Mr. Brion, I beg of you to humble yourself and so visit an unfortunate wretch who has got himself into trouble through the sin of drunkenness. If you value true friendship, you will do as I ask. Signed, J. Ward.
But who's J. Ward?
That's just it. I don't know anyone of that name. Could be a practical joke, of course, but this here prison notebook looks genuine enough. I had to go, Ethel.
Oh, well, it's up to you.
Pity Mr. Thompson ain't here. Now, he'd have advised me what to do. But he's been away, and Mrs. Thompson can't say for sure when he'll be back. Well, you never know. Maybe it's someone I met in the old days, someone I've forgotten all about. Maybe I ought to go.
This way. In there, 5 minutes only.
Thank you. Why?
It's me, Mr. Brion.
Mr. Thompson? Why, I can't believe it.
It was good of you to come, Mr. Brion, and we've not much time.
But you signed yourself Ward
Hush, Mr. Brion, these walls have ears. I had my own reasons for writing that letter as I did. As you can see, I find myself in a most pitiable plight. And there's no time to go into it at this minute, except to say that I'm innocent.
Well, yes, of course. But they can't keep you here indefinitely. Haven't you tried for bail? Oh, I'm not a rich man, but I'm willing to go surety.
Good of you, Mr. Brion, but it's no use. You know what these blockheaded policemen are. But there is one thing I'd be grateful if you'd do for me.
Of course. What is it?
See Mrs. Thompson and tell her where I am. It'll come as a shock, I don't doubt, but tell her. Ask her also to sell sufficient of my goods and chattels as will pay for a first-class lawyer.
Certainly. I'll do as you say.
If you understand, if I'd written to her, the police would have followed it up by a visit themselves, and that would never do. That's why I wrote to you, signing myself Ward. You understand, Mr. Brion? And you'll keep me secret?
Rest assured, I'll do all I can.
You're a true friend, Mr. Brion. It's good to have a friend.
Time's up.
Don't worry, Mr. Ward. We'll have you out of here in no time.
Why, if it isn't Mr. Brion.
Afternoon, Mrs. Thompson. May I come in a moment?
Oh, he's not back. Charlie's still away. But come in by all means. Oh, yes, come in and have a little drink, Mr. Brion. Come on in.
Just for a moment, then. Spring cleaning, Mrs. Thompson?
What? In October, not me.
Oh, I just fancied the house looked a bit bare, that's all.
Of course it does. She's gone off and taken most of the stuff with her. Although it's Charlie's by right.
She?
Her.
You mean Mrs. Ward,
Oh,
but...
come on, have a drink.
Not just now, Mrs. Thompson. Fact is, I've got a message for you. What's more, I reckon it'll come as a bit of a shock.
A message for me?
From Mr. Thompson.
From Charlie? You've seen him. Where is he?
In Newgate Prison.
Newgate?
Don't worry, nobody knows as yet. He's there in the name of Ward, J. Ward.
You're certain of that?
I saw him with my own eyes this very afternoon.
So, they've got him at last. Oh, poor Charlie. He was good to me, but there's no sense in crying over spilt milk, is there, Mr. Brion?
I don't understand. All I know is the message was for you to sell enough furniture and the like as will pay for a good lawyer. He's innocent, of course.
Oh, yes, of course. Charlie was always innocent. Innocent as a newborn babe, and that's been the trouble. In the meantime, well, a woman must live, I reckon. You say he's there in the name of Ward. Now tell me, Mr. Brion, is that all they know about him?
At this stage, yes. What's more, he is most anxious.
I said a woman must live, eh, Mr. Brion?
Well, we're not rich, Mrs. Thompson, but the missus and I will take care of you for a while.
Well, that's good of you, Mr. Brion. Mighty good. But I'll not need to trouble you. £100 is a tidy sum of money.
£100?
And Sheffield's not so far.
Where are we now, eh? I can see nothing in this snow.
All right, Peace, sit down, unless you want the bracelets on again.
Well, there are two of you, aren't there? Two of you against a poor old man. Can't a prisoner stand up to stretch his legs? Can't he even ask a civil question these days? Where are we?
If you must know, we just passed through Hetford Junction. There's a good half hour yet to Sheffield. Now sit down and keep quiet, will you?
When do I see my lawyer?
Tomorrow morning at the police court.
Will she be there too? That creature from America? I'm innocent. I shot him in self-defense. Do you hear me? It wasn't murder.
Keep it for the police court.
I want this window open. It's stuffy in here.
Still snowing, can't you see?
I don't care. I want the window open. It's fresh air I want, and I'm entitled to it. If you don't open the window, I'll report the pair of you. I know my rights.
Very well, for 5 minutes only. There, but keep your seat.
The gallows does well. How does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Thou dost ill to say the gallows is stronger than the church.
Stop him!
I've got his foot! Quick, pull the communication cord!
Hold tight, don't let him go!
I can't hold him! His boot's coming off! Why doesn't the train stop? We're gonna lose him! Up, there he goes. He's gone.
Is he dead?
Well, he ought to be. But he's not. Took a fair crack to the head, though.
Oh, we're in luck. The snow saved him, I reckon.
He's coming around now.
All right, I'll handle him. You go for a doctor, quick. If Charles Peace isn't in court tomorrow morning, we're done for.
Will you tell the court, Mrs. Dyson, why your husband took exception to the behavior of the accused?
Well, I guess it was on account of my husband told him to stay away from the house, and he wouldn't.
And what were your own feelings in the matter, Mrs. Dyson?
I guess I agreed with my husband.
Previous to the note thrown over the garden fence by the deceased, what was your relationship between you and the prisoner?
We were just friends.
No more than that?
No?
Liar, why don't you tell him the truth?
You've seen the somewhat incriminating letters which the prisoner claims you wrote to him from time to time. Do you say they are not in your handwriting?
I do.
She's lying, and I can prove it. That woman's a barefaced liar.
I'll have no more interruptions in this court. You only do yourself harm by interrupting.
Oh, your worship, I'm in great pain. This is no way to treat a sick man, an innocent man at that.
Charles Peace, the bench finds that there's a case against you to go before a jury. You are therefore committed thereby to stand your trial for murder at the next assizes.
Do you find the prisoner, Charles Peace, guilty or not guilty of the murder of Arthur Dyson at Banner Cross?
Guilty.
And that is the verdict of you all?
It is.
Charles Peace, you stand convicted of the crime of willful murder. Have you anything to say for yourself? Why sentence of death should not be passed upon you according to the law?
Oh, my lord, I know I have been bad, but at the same time, they've painted my case blacker than it really is. I swear by Almighty that I never meant to kill anyone in my life, but he threatened my liberty and I fired the gun when my blood was up, and now I appear before you as one of God's most repentant sinners. Have mercy upon a miserable wretch who is not yet ready to die.
Charlie Peace, you've been found guilty of a murder, which from all aspects was as cold-blooded as it was brutal. It is not my duty or my desire to aggravate your feelings at the details of your criminal career. Nevertheless, I implore you, during the short time which remains to you in life, to prepare for eternity. The sentence of the court is that you be taken from here to the place from whence you came, that you be led from there to a place of lawful execution, where you shall be hanged by the neck until you are dead.
Have you prepared yourself to meet your Maker?
I have, and my Maker has heard me, I'm certain. But I sent for you, Reverend, because I've somewhat extra special to say. You remember me at Darnell. I was among your congregation there, and many's the time you and I discoursed upon religion.
I remember you very well.
That's why I sent for you. As a man about to die, I've certain matters which burden me conscience.
Only when a man faces eternity is his conscience truly laid bare.
But this is something extra special, sir.
You wish to make a full confession of the crime for which you are about to die?
Nay, I had no thought to kill, only to get away. There's something else that the world will never believe, wherever the name of Charlie Peace is spoken. People will say he was an actor to the very last. That's not true, Parson. There's no act, no disguise. I'm a truly repentant sinner.
I believe you.
That's why I wish to unburden me mind upon the following matter. Just over 2 years ago, I was in Manchester the night of August 1st, 1876. I was there to work some houses. On the way there, I passed 2 policemen, but they seemed to take no notice. It was getting dark. But I hadn't gone far before I heard footsteps behind me, and looking round, saw it was one of the policemen. I began to run and then jumped over a wall straight into the arms of the second policeman. We had a scuffle. I told him to stand back. I fired a shot wide to warn him, but this policeman came at me with his truncheon. I fired 2 more shots and ran away. Later, I read in the papers that the Irishman by the name of William Habron had been arrested for the murder of his policeman. I even attended the trial at Manchester Assizes.
You allowed an innocent man to be sentenced to death for a crime of which you were guilty?
Well, 'twas a case of that or being hanged myself.
By the mercy of God, this man's life was spared.
Haven't I said I was truly repentant now? Aye, and what I've told you is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You'll pass it on to them, eh? So the young Irishman may be set free at once?
At once.
And now me conscience is clear. Aye, when I come face to face with the Almighty, I shall have nothing to fear. There is just one more thing I'd ask of you, Parson.
Certainly. What is it?
Not many of us has the opportunity of printing his own funeral card, I fancy. But here, this is all me own work, and quite pretty at that, eh? I'd like you to give it to me wife Hannah. Afterwards. You understand?
Rest assured, she shall have it.
She's been a good wife, and loyal, stood by me to the last.
I'll make known to her those thoughts as well. And now, your time draws near. Kneel with me in prayer.